Since the dawn of man, there have been two things. There's been fires and stories, right? Dating back as far as we have records of humans, we have stories. We have pictures on cave walls. We had fires, right? We had fires to cook our food. We had fires to be able to see these stories, to be able to stay warm in the winter. Fires and stories are what make humans humans and have made human life fun and actually survivable. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Now, building a fire is a lot like writing an essay. All right, the first part you got to do is you got to collect your fires. My nice little stack here with all the snow, but you've got to select research. You got to go through, look through all your sources, bam. You've got research, you've got pieces, and you're going to use each of these pieces to build a research paper, to build knowledge, really, and communicate that knowledge. Just like we're going to get these pieces of wood, and we're going to build our fire, and we're going to share our warmth. While collecting logs is like writing the paper, it's also similar to how in the Anglo-Saxon era, we had leaders that had well-established societies, and they were like, you know what sounds fantastic right now? A little bit of greed, sprinkle that in there, a little bit of temptation, sprinkle that in there, and we're going to take advantage of the societies that we have. This beautiful wood, I've collected some wood, and we're going to turn it into something else for my personal gain. That's kind of like in Beowulf, which happened during the Anglo-Saxon era, where he was like, hey, I've got this society that loves me. I've got all these gifts that build me up. Let me go and use my ego and go attack things that maybe I shouldn't be attacking alone. I want something more than this. It's not enough. Let's build it up for me. Not for anyone else, for me. And that is what my theme is. It's, hey, these leaders, they fell into temptation, and they said, what can I do for me? Kind of reminds me of what we've learned during the year in writing, right? When we read, we pick through, we're looking through, and we break things into chunks. We look at sections of our fire stack, and we're like, how can I get a message out of this? What does this mean to me? So reading, we take each piece of wood, and we're like, ooh, I like this one. Or I've got this guy that doesn't really have a place in my fire. It's too long, it's pretty skinny, it's not what I want. So we go through and we read, and we look closer. We're not just looking at, oh, I need some wood, I need some quotes. We look at what log is going to fit into my pile and make my fire effective. What can I get from this book that I can put in my life and make effective? Then that translates to writing. Once we have our pieces of evidence, once we have what makes our learning effective, we stack it. We're looking at how we want to structure this information, right? So just like a fire, different situations, different sets of information, different objectives are going to have you do different things. If it's really windy, I want to build a lean-to, right? See how it's on that piece of wood and it's over it. So if it's really windy, it can push the fire into that log and it'll start up. We have some information that we want to get, like an informational paper across. That could be a lean-to. We're going to kind of push our ideas into the main thesis. Let's say you're writing a fantasy book, right? Structure that differently than if you're writing a research paper. It's going to be structured differently. Kind of if you want a fire that's going to go up quick, you could boil over it, you could cook food, you want a teepee. So it's just using what we've learned and our objectives to different rather than just, our lean-to. Then we see what works for us. We're writing a research paper. So you could add more logs, and it's going to burn hot, and it's going to burn for a long time. This fire, I might be up all night. So it's a firm base that you could keep building on, and it eventually falls into itself and comes to its conclusion wrapped up in itself. And that is me taking what I've taken from the books, and I'm using my diction, my word choice, the pieces of evidence that I've gotten, and I'm establishing it, right? I'm making something that I can use. We've got this arsenal of knowledge over here. We've got a stack of tips, tricks, and diagrams to use, and now we got to put it all together. During the medieval era, we saw a lot of greed within the church and within the kings and queens, and this is shown in Geoffrey Chaucer's Canterbury Tales, where all of the church leaders are gluttonous. You know, they have envy. They all show all of these deadly sins, and they show especially just greed, right? The leadership sat back, ate food, enjoyed money, and didn't give back to their community that much. This eventually caused a bunch of battles, wars, which ended up screwing over the poor people, the common people. The leadership didn't care. And so we have all these fires started. Little fire starter right here. But we see greed in the church, in the leadership. We see bribes. If we go down here, we can catch some bribes that spark wars. And all of these little wars that they start, screwing over everybody else. And that's really how the medieval era ties in. There's all this fighting, all this death, and the rich, the wealthy, the leaders don't care. Now is an early stage in the fire. Wood is wet. It doesn't want to burn. So I have to add more fuel, more starters. And it's never enough. For the leadership in the Renaissance era, it was never enough. They had to keep doing things. They had to advance in their political power. They had to take advantage of more people so that they had more power. They could have so much, and it's never enough. You could see this in William Shakespeare's play, Othello, when characters like Iago think about themselves. He thinks, oh, if I get Othello out of here, I can have his position. I can have more power. What he should have thought about was, if I get rid of Othello, this great military leader, this guy who got this position for a reason, if I get rid of him, how might that impact the knights, the soldiers, the people who are laying down their lives for us? There is no better time to reflect than around a fire. So let's reflect. Why is it important to keep reading literature? But let's look at a modern example. 1984 by George Orwell. It shows world leaders controlling governments, basically enslaving people. Once again, they're using the people to get what they want. That's not that long ago. I know the book it's not written in 1984, but it's still in the last century. Like, it's not ancient. It's not hundreds of years ago. We need to look at this. We need to look at modern examples, and we need to pay attention to even literature from last year. We need to look at writing, what people write, because people are going to write about what's wrong. Sometimes they'll write about what's good. If things are up and awesome, people write about what's good. So we need to keep reading literature. We need to stay focused on what we can do to improve our society. So please, enjoy your fire and enjoy your literature. Just to show you guys what I'm going through for you, we have a fire pit full of snow. So I am going to clear that out so we can have our beautiful, wonderful, fantastic fire tonight. Got no fire, got no now. Got a little of that smoke with the, oh, it's burning. Oh. A little fire there for the AP Lit project now.